Hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name's Aaron. I'm here going over Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and Black Lives Matter movement. Anthony Joshua said a speech where people may have misled it, but I'm not sure what he actually meant by it because it's quite controversial. I can see how people misled it, and it's a real shame. It's people have taken it that way, and he said what Anthony Joshua said. It's not something I would have said. You know what I mean? It's the way he said it. I think if he said don't shop in racist people's shops, if the CEO's racist, or if you find out the person's racist, then boycott their business. Then personally, if I knew somebody was racist, would I shop in their shop, or would any mixed race or black person shop in their shops? If I knew that person hated my guts, LNO, with a you know what I mean, with two capitals. So yeah, those comments were misled. People commented it on social media. I believe the reason why people wanted to highlight this is just to have some attention, because we were locked down. People were on furlough. People were bored. They just needed something to discuss about. I think that's one of the reasons why it had so much attention. I believe that if that wasn't the case, then it wouldn't have been this way. It wouldn't have been so much attention on this specific subject. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I hope it will blow under the water, and I hope people will see the light, because out of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, who's the one who's got the mixed race trainer? Okay, now Anthony Joshua could easily have a black trainer. You know what I mean? He could have any. He's the biggest earning fighter in the world. You know what I mean? He's got 3 belts in the heavyweight division, the blue ribbon division, and you know what I mean. He's about to sign the big deal for a massive fight. Personally, I'm happy that this is happening in British boxing. You know what I mean? I think it is a massive fight. I'm a fight fan, and I love a good British world title dust up, and the more media attention, the better. That's what this sport's all about. It's not just a sport, it's a business, which is unfortunate for the people who have got talent but can't quite, get the attention from the, TV rights, or the ticket, or can't sell tickets. It's unfortunate for those sort of people, where they don't tend to go as far. Like, I remember Frank Buglioni had a world title shot when he drew against Lee Malcolm, and I think his next fight was for the world title. Lee Malcolm is a guy who only fought for British and Commonwealth titles. I don't think he actually won one, and then he's fighting for the world title. And also Frank Buglioni can sell a lot of tickets. Now, I'm not saying Frank Buglioni is a bad fighter, but there was no way he deserved this shot at the world title. Now, there's other people who have more talent than him, who will not be on TV. That's the unfortunate side that boxing's a business. But anyway, back to Anthony Joshua. He's loyal to his trainer, who's white, so I really don't think he is got anything against white people. I think he is upset that racism is happening, and Anthony Joshua is a guy who can sort matters out with his own 2 hands. Okay, okay. So his duty is to protect his people who are vulnerable, and you know what I mean. So I think he's upset that he's unable to do that. and I think that he was misled by what he said. I know he said he will speak from the heart, but I felt a lot of passion there from him. But somebody commented and said that somebody would say this better. No, if you're a kid of colour and you have low self-esteem, and maybe you're suffering some sort of racism, and you see the heavyweight champion of the world speaking about racism, isn't that going to lift you up? Or is it some middle-aged guy who nobody knows about? I don't know who he is, and I'm sure these kids don't know who the hell he is. That's not going to lift him up, okay? So it's not about what Anthony Joshua says, it's just the fact that he's speaking. So that's a positive, okay? Not what I agree with what he said. Okay, so I think the positive thing is to lift kids' self-esteem who have suffering racism, and you know what I mean. That's the most important thing, because us as adults, we old enough, we big enough, and we ugly enough to look after ourselves, and we know what is right and wrong, and we know when somebody is saying the wrong comment. Okay, you know, I know if what somebody's saying isn't true, and I'm sure what everybody else does. That's it really. I think with this racism awareness, I'm disappointed that people have turned on Anthony Joshua when he is such a big figure in the black community in Britain. As you know, he's had an MBE. Lewis Hamilton also is a fantastic ambassador, you know what I mean, standing up for racism when he received some abuse in a country called Spain, where yeah, they've done loads of abuse and they get away with it because, you know, I don't know why. You know, so there is worse places in Britain for racism. Italy, you know, they really racially abuse black footballers. Okay, it's really sad that England, okay, black footballers who play for you, and today the black footballers give you a chance in being successful, they get racially abused. Okay, the government stood up to racism, you know what I mean? Football is a premier sport, like boxing is a premier sport. So, you know, doesn't matter what colour the players are, you want to see them represent the country well, okay? So it's nothing to do with, so, you know, in sport, it's got nothing to do with colour, you know. I've said my bit about racism, okay? I'm not going to say too much because this is about boxing now. This isn't about racism. Okay, racism I've just mentioned. Now we're going to go on about the fight. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. The coronavirus can only be a good thing for Anthony Joshua, because on Tyson Fury's last performance against Deontay Wilder, that was something special, and it's hard for me to pick Anthony Joshua to win, or even though Anthony Joshua's coming, you know, as a different, has a completely different style to Deontay Wilder, and is a much bigger heavyweight than Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury won't be able to execute the same game plan on Deontay Wilder that he done to Anthony Joshua. You know, but that was more impressive for me than any performance Anthony Joshua's come off with. But Anthony Joshua showed a lot in the Klitschko fight, because he was hurt at the end of the 5th round. He was down in the 6th round, and he came from, you know what I mean, he came through the storm to grind out the stoppage win at the end, and showed his character. And which, when you're a big puncher and you've got a high knockout ratio, people always question what happens once you have a taste of your medicine. And Anthony Joshua answered all those questions on that great night against Vladimir Klitschko. So, you know, Anthony Joshua has proven that he will not be like a rabbit under the headlights. So that's why he is a serious opponent for Tyson Fury. And this lockdown, as I said, can only do Anthony Joshua good. Tony Bellew said that Anthony Joshua, you know, is still getting better, and Tyson Fury is at the peak of his powers, which made a lot of sense. I'm not trying to take words out of Tony Bellew's mouth. This is really what I have in my head, okay? At this present moment in time, I don't pick anyone to beat Tyson Fury, but the longer it goes on, it can only be a better chance. But Anthony Joshua, if he does fight Tyson Fury, he will not be like a rabbit under the headlights, and he will go out there doing the instructions that his cornermen are giving to him. Cornermen who are very good cornermen, and you know, I've been in the sport a very long time, and you know, Rob McCracken, Carl Froch's trainer, and people say that Carl Froch is one of the biggest overachievers in boxing, and if that's not down to a great coach, then I don't know what is, okay? So, you know, Anthony Joshua has to make Tyson Fury work at a pace that he's not comfortable with, and I'm sure he will do that, you know, and he proved that against Klitschko, because Klitschko couldn't handle the heat coming at him in the end of that fight, and that's the reason why he was able to overcome Klitschko at the autumn of Klitschko's career, because at that stage Klitschko couldn't handle the heat he used to be able to handle. Well, let me say used to be able to handle. Klitschko used to, you know, dominate fights with his left hand lead. So we never knew what he could handle then. But obviously, you know, he could have handled more than what he did in the fight against Anthony Joshua, okay? Because whenever he did get it put on him, that's when he's had his losses, the majority of the time. I do believe he's had one fight where he's been down and got back up and won. Is that against Samuel Peter? I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. Or that could be his brother. I may have got him mixed up. But anyway, Anthony Joshua will do whatever it takes to win the fight. So that's a positive for him. You know what I mean? And that is being proven on his on the way he dug out and grinded out to get the win against Klitschko. Now Klitschko is a robotic opponent, but very hard to very hard to beat when he was at the peak of his powers. But Tyson Fury is a very elusive opponent. You know what I mean? Very very athletic for his size. Very good boxer. Very clever fighter. So you know, Anthony Joshua has got to, you know, that's why I said he's got to make Tyson Fury work at a pace he's not comfortable with. But Anthony Joshua will come and try and do that, and he will, you know, I'm sure he will cause Tyson Fury some trouble. But I believe that Tyson Fury, well, you know, I fancy Tyson Fury to handle what Anthony Joshua's got coming at him, and I think that Tyson Fury may just be too good for him over the distance. But it's heavyweight boxing. Look at Povetkin and Dylan White, a fight we saw on the weekend, okay? Look at that. So, yeah, if I'm going to predict that fight, I would go with Tyson Fury on points, or, you know, it could be a knockout either way. You never know in boxing. If Anthony Joshua's going to win the fight, Tony Bellew reckons he has to do it within the first 6 rounds. Well, I believe that Tony Bellew said that he had to do it in the first 4 rounds against Klitschko. So he's proved that Joshua's proved that he can turn it on late in the fight. I know Klitschko's at the autumn of his career, but yeah, I do think that it will make for a great fight, and it'll make for an intriguing fight. But you know, the longer it goes on, the better chance Anthony Joshua will have, providing he keeps on moving forward. And yeah, providing he keeps on moving forward, really, because you know he's achieved a lot in the game. He's beat some good fighters already. Yeah, so basically that's it, really. I do think it's gonna happen. You know, obviously this coronavirus is holding things back, and I would love to see them have, you know, a fight each. I don't want to see Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder again. I don't think that fight needs to be rematched, because I thought Tyson Fury was unlucky in the first fight. I thought he won the fight comfortably, and you know, he done the job in the second fight. I don't think we need another chapter at this moment in time. I think that, you know, Tyson Fury should fight, I don't know, somebody else, and then, you know, Anthony Joshua, you know, is going to fight Pulev. I think that, you know, it's a decent challenge. I think Anthony Joshua will come through that challenge though, successfully, whether it be points or a stoppage, possibly a mid-round stoppage. Yeah, I think that Joshua may have too much for Pulev. But that's not an easy fight. Pulev is a good fighter. And then, you know, that fight can happen sometime next year. But, you know, I hope that nothing goes wrong, and I hope it does happen. That's it from me. There's not really too much I can say, because the fight's not happening officially, but you know, they've signed the contract for the fight, they've agreed a deal. I'm not too clued up on that. You know, I just like to comment on fights whenever they do happen. And that's it, really. Enjoy your weekend. It's bank holiday. I'm not sure what we can do on bank holiday, but everyone stay humble, okay?